Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Kentucky Derby Prep Recap, taking a look back at the Sam F. Davis Stakes at Tampa Bay Downs, going a mile and a 16th. This was the Bill Mott Show, and we break from the gate, and Bill Mott's stretch-out sprinter, Candyman Rocket, winner of a maiden special weight in his prior start with a solid 85 Beyer speed figure. He gets close to the pace here. Now, the pace here was solid. I thought this was one of those fast early, slow late races.
In some ways it is. And then, on the other hand, Dan, there's really no closing going on. So even if they were going fast, it certainly did not help anybody who was off the pace in here. Candyman Rocket is getting right up close there. He's the 9, 3 wide around the first turn, but getting the position he wants. And he's going to track this 20-1 shot on the lead here. Listen, this horse broke his maiden first time over a fast track with an 85. He wants another 85 here, first time around 2 turns.
The pace setter, Boca Boy, all things considering, ran pretty well. We hadn't seen this horse since September. He did some good things down at Gulfstream Park, a Florida bred as a 2-year-old, and he's on the lead. He's going pretty quick. He tires. He finishes an okay 4th, but as you said, there was not a lot of closing. Maybe it's an indictment of the rest of the field.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, anybody who certainly finishes behind this horse, because you'll see Boca Boy get tired. And, listen, the horses that run 1-2 are right behind him here, so it's not like you're going to make the argument that he went too fast, Dan. The horses that, finish ahead of him are all pretty close to him at this point. And he just can't stop Candyman Rocket at this point. Candyman Rocket's coming on the outside to take him on. There's really no fight from Boca Boy. Candyman Rocket's going to take it right over. That's Nova Rag slipping through on the rail. He's only second best.
He is second best. He comes through down on the inside. Another Mott horse that had previous experience winning at Tampa Bay Downs sprinting. Now Candyman Rocket has a clear lead. He does look like he's getting tired, and understandably so. He is stretching out for the first time. Nova Rags with a slight run. And here's Hidden Stash on the outside. He had gotten to the outside after following Nova Rags' rail move on the turn. He finished up on his left lead, but at least he was doing some closing. Maybe he's a horse that you can follow. This was his first start as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, he's a little bit green still, Dan. That was sort of the book on him towards the end of last year when they stretched him out for the first couple of races. Just still looks a little green to me, always on his wrong lead. He's got to get over that, I would suspect, at some point. Overall, I mean, listen, he ran fine in this race. I thought he got a very good trip. He saved ground every inch of the way, got a nice in-out run to the stretch, and he was just kind of forging on at the end. He'll have to do better. He can do better. He looks like he's okay.
Second consecutive 85 Beyer for Candyman Rocket, who's been through the auction ring on 3 occasions, bought back for $190,000 as a weanling, bought back $70,000 as a yearling, and sold for $250,000 in June of 2020. Always nice to see Courtly D in a pedigree. She's the 4th dam of Candyman Rocket. But do you think this horse is going to want a little bit more ground, Mike? I mean, to me, I think this horse is going to slot in best as a middle distance runner down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. As far as his pedigree goes, there's a chance he could still get further. And he's still so lightly raced. I don't know if I want to, make any, firm judgments on him at this point. So we'll see. This isn't, to me anyway, this wasn't a race that you're blown away by. I don't think he's not going to break any speed records there for the, final quarter mile or so. But listen, he did what he had to do. It was his first time stepping out of the maiden ranks, first time around 2 turns. And at the end of the day, he was a pretty clear-cut winner.
Nova Rags was down inside. He came through along the rail. The rail can be sometimes deep at Tampa Bay Downs. This is a horse that seems to be improving with each and every start for Bill Mott. Mott said he's going to try to keep these 2 horses split up. I'd assume we'd see Candyman Rocket in the Tampa Bay Derby, and will it be interesting to see where Nova Rags goes next?
Yeah, he had some decisions to make with these 2 horses. Nova Rags, he ran fine in this race. Another horse who was stretching out off of a pretty easy stakes win sprinting. He seemed like he handled it okay to me, Dan. He's another horse who I felt like got a really good trip, and he did his best with it.
Known Agenda was the disappointment as the 3-2 favorite. Now, we saw this horse race on a wet track in his prior start, and he was under the whip a long way out. Just a horse that maybe didn't seem like he appreciated racing inside over a wet track, but I'm beginning to wonder if maybe he just doesn't have any speed. He dropped back early in this race, and he got into it way too late. I wonder if he's going to be one of those horses that's a plodding type that just needs an electric pace to help.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder that as well, especially mostly because of this race, though, Dan, because when you go back to his maiden win, which was at 9 furlongs, I mean, he kept relatively in range of that pace before he dueled down a really good horse in Greatest Honor to break his maiden, but couldn't keep up really in the Remsen. And that was the same thing here. He just could not keep up. He was being asked to keep up from a long way out. He could not do it. Still way too far back at the top of the stretch. At that point, you knew he wasn't getting anything. He was actually running at the end of this race. To me, he was the only horse really running at the end of this race, but it was way too late.
Smiley Sabatka, the runner-up in the Kentucky Jockey Club, was up close to the pace in his seasonal debut, and he just had nothing after about a half mile. It continues a string of bad performances for horses coming out of the Kentucky Jockey Club.
Yeah, this horse, he was terrible in here. He got, up close early, but you could tell a half mile into the race that he wasn't winning. He backed right through this field. Very, very disappointing.
Successful stretch out for Candyman Rocket. He wins the Grade 3 Sam F. Davis for Bill Mott. 85 Beyer speed figure for the son of Candy Ride.